Welcome to part 2 of my lamb harvest. In the first video, we harvested the lamb and broke down the carcass into just the most basic cuts. In this video, we're going to be making some good old-fashioned salt-cured bacon. Now, I use the term bacon very loosely to refer to any breast, flank cut of meat that is cured in this way with or without smoking, so bear that in mind. Let's do it. So you just need a piece of belly like this. And all I'm gonna do is shape it up a little bit so that we have a little bit more even pieces to work with here. I really love this method of meat preservation because it doesn't take up any fridge or freezer space, and it's just right there ready to go, super convenient for cooking. And this method will last really beautifully for a year, sometimes more, depending on your storage conditions. The thing is, the fat can go off. So while it is technically not ever going to spoil and go rotten, your fat can go rancid if it has any sunlight exposure. Don't know about you, but I do not have a proper, absolutely lightless storage condition for my meat, so that is a factor. I usually use mine up within about a year. Now that those are all trimmed up and looking nice, we just need to apply the cure. And this is the easiest cure ever because you do not have to measure anything, and it's really flexible. You can play around a lot. The only thing that you absolutely need is salt. Just some regular fine grind salt without any additives. You don't want anti-caking agents and you don't want added iodine. Both of those things can inhibit the cure and they can cause really funky flavors. So look for something that is just salt. Naturally occurring minerals are totally fine. Optionally, you can play around with adding sugar. You could use, I've seen people do maple syrup, brown sugar, white sugar. I'm using some coconut sugar today. Any kind of like real sugar, not an artificial sweetener, but you can use a little bit of real sugar just to kind of cut that saltiness and add a little bit of sweet. It's a fun add-in. You can also experiment with adding spices. Pepper is a fantastic one. Thyme, sage, juniper berries, bay leaves, even allspice. Like there's a ton of great flavors that you can play around with and really make this your own. So feel free to experiment. But here's the thing. You're gonna take your meat and you're gonna take some salt or a mix of whatever you're using, and you're gonna just apply it all over. And you only need as much as sticks. So, no measuring, super simple. Just get all of the sides, tap off the excess, and that is as much salt as you need. I do want to get a little fancy today. I do want to use a little bit of sugar. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that in and do a second pass here with the sugar. Now I get this question all the time, this leftover salt and sugar and whatever that you're rubbing on the meat, can you save that and reuse it? Absolutely. There is no reason you can't save this and reuse it for other cures. I'm really guesstimating here because I'm comfortable with this, but you want to use up to 50-50 salt and sugar. You don't want to use less than 50% salt. This needs to go somewhere cool for the next 5 to 10 days. Somewhere cool means above freezing and below 60. Ideally, you're shooting for 40 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. This does not need to be covered, but you certainly can put something breathable over top if you'd feel better. It needs to be ideally somewhere pest-free, no mice or cats or flies, things like that should be getting into it. And it does not need to go in the refrigerator. Certainly it can go anywhere else in your home or property that is cool, but it can go in the refrigerator if that's your only option. I really, really love these little analog hydrometer thermometers to go around and find the best spots in my home at any given time. This is also really handy later because right now the humidity isn't really a concern, but later in life and in other charcuterie projects, the humidity is a concern. So hydrometer thermometer combo comes in super handy. So I'll see you guys again in about 5 days. 5 days later, the first thing that I'm gonna do is get the fire in my smoker started. Now, optionally, but super fun, we're gonna go put these in the smoker. Whether or not you're gonna smoke, you're just gonna rinse off any kind of extra residual cure, pat these dry, and then move them into storage or into the smoker. Remember, when you're cold smoking, you don't want the meat to cook, so try to keep the temperature below 85 degrees in your smoker. Again, I use the analog hydrometer thermometers here. So I let these sit in the cold smoker with on and off smoke for about 2 days. Now it's time to get them into storage. So I actually left these out here for about a week because my weather has just been perfect, but it's gonna get pretty darn cold. So ideally in storage, these should stay above freezing and below 60. Somewhere out of direct sunlight or even really dark is preferable. And somewhere with a little bit of humidity is great, about 60 to 90%. And that's it. These can go in a basement, a garage, an entryway, a north-facing deck. Experiment and find a spot that works for you. This will store really easily for at least a year, many years, depending on your storage conditions. And you can fry it up like bacon. You can dice it up and use it as a garnish on gnocchis or in beans, pastas. It's great in soups. You can really do a ton with it, and it just brings so much flavor to even the most basic meals. So it's one of my very favorite food preservation methods to utilize. If you are interested in traditional forms of meat preservation, make sure you check out my whole playlist dedicated to just that. I will put a link in this video's description, and it'll also be on the end screen. Gnocchis are my favorite easy homemade pasta to make. You can make them with potatoes, squash, beets, like all kinds of things. They're so simple and delicious. I did do a video on those a while back, so I'll link that in the description as well. This is a super cozy and easy fall treat. I've got pumpkin gnocchis with my smoked lamb bacon, just fried in butter. So good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. I'll see you guys next time.